Shalom, today is April 3rd, and we're in day 545 days of the war in Israel. The newspaper is focusing on two major stories, but we'll focus on one of them. The first one is the Qatargate investigation. We'll briefly go through that. Another big one is the call for the Ultra-Orthodox Jews to come under the stretcher, to hold the stretcher together with all the society of Israel. There was a huge demonstration yesterday done by the people of Israel, by those who serve, asking the Ultra-Orthodox, please help us. So let's open up and we'll get updated about what's going on in Gaza a little bit. So Qatargate investigation is this. Ma yodea Einhorn. What does Einhorn know? Einhorn is one of the advisors, and it seems like he was exposed to some very secretive, top secret information, which he was not supposed to be exposed to. He's denying it. Other advisors are also giving contradictory testimonies. Netanyahu says bluff echad anak about the Qatargate. Bluff echad anak means this is one huge bluff. The police will ask this morning to lengthen the arrest of some of the advisors. So the balagan in the government is continuing. Balagan is a slang word in Israel. You use it all the time for mess, messy. Just a big mess. So the balagan is continuing, and yes, this is all regarding the messy connections that seem bad for the security of Israel, very, very bad, with Qatar and the office of Benjamin Netanyahu. We will see where will that take us to. The next story that was not presented in the first page is that the IDF finally gave the investigation results to the families where their loved ones were murdered or injured or kidnapped from the Nova Festival. Yesterday was the first time that the IDF presented the foundings of the investigation. Here in the picture we see a little glimpse of the disaster that happened on October 7th in the Nova Festival. B'Tzahal omrim nechshalnu. In the IDF they say, we have made a mistake, we failed. אבל איך אפשר לעשות שגיאה בכזה סדר גודל? But how can you fail in such a large scale? That's a question that one of the fathers asked. So it was done in two phases yesterday, two parts, and the investigation results will be continued to be revealed today. This is a year and a half after October 7th. The IDF took a lot on itself to investigate themselves, and they're saying the IDF is taking most of the responsibility. They're putting themselves in the front of the investigation. Where there's also the Shabak, which is the Internal Intelligence Services of Israel, that they have responsibility to. The police has the responsibility as well, and the political level also has responsibility. But here, the IDF is taking most of the responsibility and presenting that to the families. The families are mad, they're crying, they're shouting, they're asking questions. They don't understand how some of their children were dying for hours before the IDF came and saved them. So this is a very, very hard event to go through yesterday, and it will continue today. One of the fathers, Ophir, he's the father of Idan, who was killed in the Nova Festival. He says, where were you? My children were shot, and you were sleeping. You fell asleep. Now it's important to say the general, Dan Goldfuss, who was leading this with the hurting families, he says, no, we're not coming to make anything pretty. I am hurting and I am embarrassed. There's a personal story down here. I'm going to read you the headline. Im Raz lo haya kofetz. If Raz wouldn't have jumped, hu haya chozer b'chaim. He would have come back alive. This is speaking about Raz Bokobza. Here he is. He was killed. He jumped from the truck of the Hamas terrorists that grabbed him together with 4 other Israelis and took them from the Nova Festival, kidnapped them, and were driving towards the Gaza Strip. He tells the Israelis with him, I'm going to jump. And they said, don't do it. This is 5 minutes while driving towards the Gaza Strip. He knows what's happening. He's realizing they're kidnapped. They said, don't do it. He says, I'm jumping. He jumped off the truck. The terrorists stopped the truck, killed him, shot him, killed him, and continued as if nothing happened. Since then, 2 of those hostages came back. They were able to tell the story to Raz's family. Raz's family, who's seen the videos and they knew he jumped, they said those were very hard videos to watch. But to hear the testimonies of those who spent the 5 last minutes of Raz's life, they said this is, even though it's 5 minutes, it's like a whole world for us. And they're comforted in the fact that Raz chose what to do. But his friend that was kidnapped with him said if he wouldn't have jumped, he would probably come back alive. Moving on to the next headline, Israel b'milchama. Now, if you have followed us long enough, you know what those 2 words mean. You can write it down in the comments. מבצע עוז וחרב מתרחב לאזורים חדשים. The operation עוז וחרב, which means strength and sword, is expanding to new areas in Gaza. מעמיקים את האחיזה בעזה. Deepening the hold in Gaza. That is the main headline. And it says the IDF is expanding its control and expanding this operation. The operation Oz Vacherev, sword and strength and sword, started 2 weeks ago when the ceasefire collapsed. And we're in the 3rd stage now. The first stage was entering with Air Force and having airstrikes, massive airstrikes. The second stage was surrounding Tel Sultan, one of the major neighborhoods full of terror and terror infrastructure. Now we're in the 3rd stage where the IDF is going to take control over Tzir Morag. Tzir is like a corridor, so Morag corridor that's between Rafah and Khan Yunis. So it's still in the south part of Gaza. Israel is hoping that this pressure will get Hamas back on the negotiation table regarding the hostages. Still, we have 59 hostages in Gaza, and the assumption is that 24 of them are still alive. Now, Hamas still has the ability to shoot rockets, to launch rockets into Israel. We are receiving rockets, Sderot, Beersheba, Jerusalem area. Some of them are from Gaza, some of them are from Lebanon, to the north part of Israel. Some of them are from the Houthis, from Yemen. Even in my dream last night, I was walking in Jerusalem and the siren was sounded, and we had to seek shelter very fast. So the sirens are a major part of our life here. But their ability, Hamas's ability, has decreased since the beginning of the war. There is still a lot of work to be done, and they're saying that the number 1 purpose of this operation is to bring back the hostages. Next headline, this was presented also in the front page of the newspaper. אנחנו זקוקים לחרדים מתחת לאלונקה. We are in desperate need for the ultra-Orthodox Jews. In one word, charedim in Hebrew. Mitachat, under the stretcher. And this was a protest with thousands of people yesterday. And who is protesting? It is the reserve soldiers, their wives which some of their soldiers, their husbands are still in reserve duty. They came alone with their children. And a big part was the pre-army preparation schools. It's called Mechina Kdam Tzva'it. Kdam Tzva'it means pre-military. And they are protesting, asking for help from the ultra-Orthodox. So it's really brother to brother, sister to sister, because wives are asking other wives, support your men who do want to go out to serve. Please support them, and you can handle it at home. The subheadline reads, Alfei Tzoadim, thousands of protesters walked yesterday to Jerusalem, and they called to the ultra-Orthodox people to join them in the IDF protecting Israel. One of them says, Bati lechan levad im shloshet hayeladim. I came here alone with it's a woman, it's a mother. I came here alone with 3 of my children because my husband is in his 4th round of reserve duty. This is Tamar Abrahamson, and she's saying, Anachnu lo yecholim yoter. We cannot do it anymore. Another quote, Hamilchama mar'a, the war is showing why it is important to enlist to the IDF. We need a strong army, strong military from all parts of society. And on the left, we read here part of the letter that the head of the pre-military preparation school in Israel. One of them, there are many, many, many. One of them is even Messianic. This preparation school has lost 3 of his men serving in this in the war, in the IDF. And he's writing to the head of one of the Haredi yeshivas where they study Torah, and they only study Torah, and they get funded for studying Torah. These guys are refusing to enlist to the IDF, and the heads of these yeshivot are leading the way, and they're not encouraging in any way their students to leave the yeshiva and go serve. He's sharing from his heart what he has experienced since the Black Saturday, he says, October 7th. He says about the testimonies that he's hearing from the students that have lost their close ones, from those who lost their friends in battle, and the trauma that they're suffering. He concludes his letter with saying, we have to go to a very brave move where we need to stop the funding to the yeshivas, because the yeshivas are getting funded to study Torah, to getting a driver license, for daycare for their children. It's all funded so that they can continue to study Torah quietly. And he emphasizes here how continuing to fund the Ultra-Orthodox does not encourage in any way having them enlist and serve in the IDF. So this is big in Israel. The tension between the secular and the Orthodox is real, especially around the service. Now, there are some special Ultra-Orthodox that are serving in the military. There are some religious Jews that are serving in the military, but those are really, they're not many, and especially the Ultra-Orthodox. There are very, 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 very few that decide to leave the yeshiva and go serve with their brothers and sisters in the IDF. This is it for today. We'll wrap this up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for standing with Israel and praying for us. We would love to read your comments about what's going on, what you're praying for, where you're watching from. I'm Rotem Magen for All Israel News.